Hello, friends, and welcome to another exciting episode of Today with Tally. The mission and goal of this podcast is to bring an engaging conversation that will add value to the lives of everyday people. We will inspire, encourage, educate, and tell the stories of America's finest men and women in an effort to motivate you to live your life to its fullest potential. Be sure to follow us on social media and search Today with Tally. Be sure to subscribe, follow, and share the program as well. Ladies and gentlemen, your host of the evening, Mr. Brian Tally.
Welcome back to Today with Tally podcast, where we add real life value to the lives of everyday people. We're on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Anchor FM, Spotify, and About Face Radio. Simply search Today with Tally and be sure to like, share, and subscribe to get every episode and stay up to date with the latest our guests in this show has to offer. Folks, today we celebrate day 166 of this brand new podcast in our 108th episode. That's right, folks, 108 episodes in 166 days. Folks, are you looking to become perhaps a show sponsor of this podcast? Call me today, 951-294-7259. That's 951-294-7259. Or simply drop me an email to thetallybill@gmail.com. Let's advertise your business right here on this podcast. Let me help you reach your goals. Let's put a marketing plan together and develop a strategy to take your business to the next level. Whether you're trying to get gear out there, merchandise, supplements, events, whatever it may be, I'm your guy. Hit me up, thetallybill@gmail.com. We have some very serious engagement going on today, and we've had some very serious engagement for quite some time now, for about the last 166 days, as we are putting out these very informative podcasts, again, that are designed to help everybody that is listening to these shows. And again, with Facebook and with our Spotify and our Anchor FM accounts, we have a lot of people that are coming to the shows. So anything that you do on this show, sponsorship-wise, will be seen in a very good way. So again, folks, if you want to advertise your podcast right here, let's do it. Call me today or send me an email, and I'll be more than happy to sit down with you. Again, we'll develop that strategy, and we'll take your business to the next level. Now, folks, let me tell you about an author that I've recently come across. John Henley is a best-selling author who has written over a dozen books that offers a wide variety of genres for you to get lost in. If you enjoy hard-hitting military thrillers, or if you prefer to engage in massive fantasy worlds, or just want to get lost in intense detective mysteries, then look no further than author John Henley. His books are all available online at authorjohnhenley.com. John is a U.S. Navy veteran and a former officer of the CIA. Pick up one of these hard-hitting, heart-pounding thrillers today at authorjohnhenley.com, or check him out on Amazon by simply searching author John Henley. Now, folks, we have a very special guest joining us on today's program. Travis Wilson is a 21-year military veteran who spent 13 years as a U.S. Army Green Beret. Travis entered the Army in 1995 as an airborne medic with the goal of one day becoming an 18 Delta Green Beret medic. After 6 years in the service, Travis left the Army to attend Boise State University, where he studied exercise science and played hockey for the ACHA club hockey program. After completing school, Travis returned to the Army to complete his Special Forces training. It was chosen to be an 18 Echo communication specialist. He was then assigned to the 10th Special Forces Group out of Colorado Springs, Colorado, where he remained until his retirement in 2017. While serving as a Green Beret, Travis also started a supplement nutrition store called Caliber Nutrition. After juggling the challenges of active duty and a supplement store along with multiple deployments, Travis decided that it was time to retire and start his own product line called Alpha Elite Performance, a brand founded upon the consummate professionalism and high physical fitness standards, characteristics of the Special Forces community. Established in Colorado Springs, Alpha Elite Performance reflects Travis's dedication to the provision of high-quality supplements, not just for Green Berets, but for all active duty military and civilians alike. And with that, we are honored to be joined by the man himself, Travis Wilson. How are you, sir?
I'm good. I hope you can hear me because we were getting dumped on right now. It's so loud where I'm at.
It's the same here. We're getting that storm that's blowing through, which is good. Rain is a good thing. But yeah, I mean, you're coming in Lima Charlie.
Good.
But yeah, we do hear that fuzz in the background, but it's good to go.
Yeah, it's insane.
Hey, as long as it's dry for the Ruck. But you know what? Hey, you know what? I kind of like walking in the rain, to be honest with you.
Yeah, absolutely. I might have to lean in just so I can hear you.
No problem, man. No problem. Hey, I mean, it is what it is. We will adapt. We will overcome. We will improvise. And the closer your great gets to that camera, I think the more that people will actually like it. Because, hey, man, look, you're a handsome guy, right? Let's just face it.
Okay.
Well, anyways, man, you served a honorable 21-year military career, man. You want to tell us something, a little bit about it?
Yeah, actually, I initially was at a military academy preparatory school, Wentworth Military Academy, and left Wentworth early and decided to join the service. But really wanted to be an Air Force pararescue guy like my dad. My dad was a PJ. But at that time, during the Clinton administration, they were kind of doing cutbacks and stuff. So at one point in my life earlier on, I had exploratory surgery on my knee, and the Air Force was like, sorry, they permanently disqualified me because of that surgery. So essentially just went across the hall to the Army, and the Army's like, yeah, if you want to beat up your body more, come on, let's do it. So entered the Army in 1995, became an airborne medic, served in the 501st in Alaska, and first went to a LURS detachment in Fort Hood, which deactivated pretty much as soon as I got there. So they had to find me a new home. So that's when I went to Alaska. But oh, nice! Now we're getting the thunder and lightning. But yeah, and then decided that I wanted to be a Green Beret and went to selection in '99. Got selected. Pissed off the regiment by saying, hey, I'm actually going to get out and go back to school. I'll call you later. They didn't really like that, but came back in, served, became a Green Beret, and did my time as what Green Berets do.
I got a question for you, Travis. You've got some breaks in service here. You got out, you went back in, and then I think perhaps you may have gotten out again and then went back in. What's it like getting out and then retransitioning back into the military? Were there some times where you said, now, you know what, I'm kind of liking the civilian life, and I think there may be more out here for me. But then, obviously, you would end up going back into the Army and fulfilling your dream of becoming a Green Beret. What was that like? Did you ever have those moments of reflection to say, I'm going to stay on the outside, or was it always the plan to go back in?
I'll start with the military academy because, I was going there to hopefully get into one of the larger military academies. And I left there and I still kind of regret that because I didn't, the point was to become an officer. And my father ended up being an officer. My mother was a nurse in the Air Force. And so I regretted that. So I knew that I wanted to go back into the military, kind of had to really. So I enlisted. But my break in service, I went back to school to Boise State University and had a great time, loved it, liked being a civilian. But there really was a part of me that, am I going to go back, into the military after I leave Boise State University or not? Well, the war's kicked off. And like most soldiers, you train and train and train in preparation for combat. So when the war's kicked off, it was kind of a calling because it all just kind of came together at the right time. And actually it was Iraq that did it. Afghanistan was already going on, but I figured that one wasn't going to last long. And my unit in Alaska didn't go. They stayed in Alaska at the time to guard the pipeline. But when Iraq kicked off, that's when I was like, you know what? I'm going to go back into the Army. The transition out of the Army into, college life really wasn't a difficult one. I was single and and I started having a lot of fun when I went back to school at Boise State. But going back into the Army out of, college, I don't know. I kind of adapt a little easier to change, I guess, than most. Even my exit out of the Army, had a couple issues, but not really. I've just always been a planner, and I've always had a plan and execute those plans, and it seems to make things a little easier.
Sure. Now, did college make you a better soldier?
Not at all. No. Maybe a little smarter. But did it make me a better soldier? I can't. No, I think I made me a better soldier through discipline and just the way that actually I'd say that my father made me a better soldier because he was a soldier, and the way that he raised me, I carried on into pretty much everything that I did. Now, granted, leaving the military academy, I felt like I was quitting, and I've probably quit a few things in my life, but I'd say that maturity, and then just life lessons and education made me a better soldier. I'd say that the second time around after college, I was a little bit more prepared for it. But I was also kind of just jumping right into, saving my life and those around me. Because I did go to Iraq right out of school as a medic with the 21st Combat Support Hospital. And it was there that I, re-engaged the guys at the regiment to go back to the Q course. So I left Iraq early and went to Fort Bragg to start the Q course. But yeah, I don't know what to say.
No. So hindsight. Now, looking back when you got out, you went to Boise State and you did the college life for a little bit. Now, looking back, did you learn some life skills and perhaps some life lessons that would ultimately prepare you for what you were about to face in combat, serving overseas?
In college or at that break
like
in service?
College. Looking back, just hindsight, learning some of the things that you may have learned in college, preparing. I mean, because you had a break in service there, and sometimes a lot of guys will grow, a lot just being away from the game.
I mean, I guess educationally, I went to school for exercise science, so that helped in being a medic and understanding the human body and how it works, and saving lives. And then as a Green Beret, that helped as well. Even though when I became a Green Beret, I wasn't a medic. I ended up ultimately changing to 18 Echo. The Army, the Special Forces maybe changed to 18 Echo. But yeah, I would just say that I matured. Having left the Army, going to college, being on my own, not having, the Army there to tell me, hey, be at formation at 6:30 a.m., be here, do that. I had left the Army and was now in school, and it was all up to me to get to class on time and to start being an adult. But I will say that I was kind of prepared for that just because of the discipline that I learned from the Army. And which I kind of helped as being the older guy. When I got to school, I was the older guy. And I played hockey at Boise State through the ACHA program. And having dealt with a lot of those athletes and kind of being, the big brother, if you will, and kind of bleeding off some of that discipline that I learned as a soldier into those guys. Go ahead. It's
as if being a soldier made you a better student and not being made you a better soldier. You know what I mean? So you kind of did it the right way, because once you're 18 years old and you're going into college, you're there to party. But when you go into the military at a young age and you spend some time in the military, you get out, you go to college, it's all business. You're not there to party. You're there to learn and you're there to educate yourself, to continue on the mission that you want on your goals, so you can better fulfill out your dreams and your admirations on becoming that Green Beret, 18 Echo, 18 Delta, whatever it may be, down the line of where Travis Wilson was headed in the walk in life.
Yeah, absolutely. I would definitely say that the military made me a better student. I just heard it the other day. My buddy said I hated going to class, and there was that grading on a curve. And the military guys in our school, the guys who had served, they always studied and got really good grades, and they always got like hundreds. And so it really screwed up that grading curve that the teacher was grading on. You just, the discipline is there. So and not everybody, I think, is ready for college right out of high school. I would say that I was not. And I got thrown into that preparatory military academy, which I absolutely loathed at that time. I thought my shit didn't stink. Maturity level was not there, and I could admit that. I didn't then, but I can now for sure. So it took a little time, a little growing up in the military to kind of mature a little bit, get a little bit more life lessons and some discipline, and then go back to school. And then those two just kind of melded together into rejoining the service and becoming a Green Beret. Now, granted, I made it through selection in 1999 before I got out to go back to school. But I was young, I was a physically fit stud, and mildly educated. So I actually at one point had to raise my GT score to get any job that I wanted. Because I was lazy in joining the Army. Like, yeah, I go take this test, and I was like, great, whatever. I'm going to join the service regardless, So, but still had to raise my GT score to enter Green Berets at that time.
Mm-hmm. So, I got a question for you. So you went in as an airborne medic, mm-hmm. and you had a goal of one day becoming an 18 Delta Green Beret medic. But where do we go from there?
Well, my scores in 1999, the selection, they chose your job for you based on the scores, on the TABE test, your GT score, and other tests that you take while going through selection. They said, you know what, you'd be a better fit as an 18 Echo communications guy, satellites, computers, and all that. I absolutely hated that. I always wanted to be a medic, and I had just left Iraq when I showed up to Q course and said, well, hey, I really thought it was going to be easy to do. I said to my TAC, I said, well, I just left Iraq as a medic. I'd really like to be an 18 Echo. Wrong thing to say. He lit into me, and God bless his soul. He was actually killed in Iraq after his instructor time. But he lit into me, and that was my first experience with the regiment at the Q course was, you show up and you keep your mouth shut and you do as you're told. So I was an 18 Echo. I went through the whole program as an 18 Echo and went to the regiment as an 18 Echo. My days of being a medic, I thought, were over. But because I always maintained my EMT license and all that stuff and had that background, ended up using my medical skills on a teammate who was shot in the chest in the Balad, Iraq area. Around that area, we were hitting a house. But yeah, so he ended up living. But yeah, those medical skills were always there, still are.
Sure.
That's how I became an 18 Echo.
I can't imagine. I mean, you are one hell of a warfighter. I've done a lot of research on you. You're an honorable man, and you are. There's the alpha and the elite, of course, always come to mind when you are thinking Travis Wilson. Now, you had a very difficult job. I mean, you were a medic, you were a Green Beret, and you did both of those because, let's face it, when you're out on these combat deployments, of course you need a medic, and of course you can't be a medic without being Green Beret if you're attached to Green Beret. So of course you're wearing multiple hats. Now, did you ever feel as if there was a lot of pressure put on you in that type of role, or were you like, nah, I'm an alpha guy and I'm an elite guy and I'm a Green Beret and I'm a medic, I'm an EMT, and I'm here, put me in, coach, take me off the sidelines and put me into the game, because if anything happens, I want to be there for my brothers in need when we're downrange?
Pressure? No, I think the pressure is when I don't have something to do. You give me more, and I think with most Green Berets, they tend to excel. When tasks are given. But I think that if I'm sitting around not doing anything is when my mind goes stir crazy. But no, I kind of I excel when given more tasks to accomplish. And I think that's the mindset of most special operations guys. And that's why they pick and choose us. And you go through basically those tests beforehand, the mental tests, all that. The physical stuff, anybody can do that. That's just about not quitting and being physically fit. But mentally, they hand pick who they want, to go through the pipeline. So I enjoy tasks and more work.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I agree with you there. I mean, when my back is up against the wall and there's no way out, that's when I'm at my best.
Yeah.
So, again, alpha males. I guess there's a lot of commonalities there. I've got a question for you. There's a lot of viewers out there. I mean, look, Green Berets are elite, right? You've got Green Berets, you got U.S. Navy SEALs, you got Delta Force, you've got Marine Recon, you got Raiders. You have all these special operation communities. And I know you guys are a very tight-knit community. What's it like being a Green Beret?
I'll break some of those down for you as well. Like Navy SEALs are really good at obviously waterborne infiltration and direct action, and they get picked for a lot of those missions. To date, there have been 0 waterborne infiltrations from Special Forces Green Berets. Yet we still have scuba teams. We have free fall teams, which I was on. There's a picture behind me of my free fall team. At MARSOC, kind of does a little bit of the same, the foreign internal defense. But being a Green Beret, I mean, it encompasses a lot of different things, from being a teacher, a protector, obviously direct action. Everybody's a shooter. Everybody's a killer. But what I really enjoyed about it, and also we have higher educational standards to become a Green Beret. Everybody they come out with a minimum of a 2-year education. Most come in with a 2-year or 4-year degree to begin with. But you come out with a 2-year degree, and we all speak another language. There for the longest time, we were the only ones who spoke another language, which is a part of our Q course. And it is part of, I think we're the only ones right now that it is only a part of our qualification course. So it's a group of, badass nerds. That's what I like to call them. But we do it all. We do the direct action. We have our CRIF teams. We have our mobility teams, our free fall teams, our scuba teams. We are called upon more than any other special operations around the globe by other countries to come teach, train, combat advise, you name it. We are Special Forces Green Berets are called upon the absolute most.
Now, Green Berets, I mean, let's face it, really, a lot of people that serve in the military are very alpha-centric, right? There's a lot of guys out there that want the best in life. They want to become an entrepreneur. They want to, be the best at what they are. But then you take it a step further. You got a Green Beret. I mean, obviously, you got a guy out there who's, a hard charger and ready to go. Now, when you were active duty, Green Beret, you actually started a supplement nutrition store called Caliber Nutrition. Now, you had that entrepreneurial mindset. Like I said, that so many special forces operators that I personally know have gone down that same route. What was it like serving your country, serving as a Green Beret, and also being an entrepreneur while you were active duty and running this store?
Well, I wouldn't have started Caliber Nutrition had I not had a near fatal free fall accident. I had an injury where I was coming in on final on a night jump, and my canopy, either I hit a night dust devil or what, but my canopy was open, but the right side decided to collapse. So I spun down to the ground and then just went splat out in the desert in Eloy, Arizona. Ended up breaking my back and jacking up my legs and ankle, and obviously hit my head. Had a really bad concussion. That was pretty crazy, waking up to your team around you with flashlights in your face and thinking that you were impaled. But I recovered from that after a year, and during that time, I started, while laying in bed recovering, devising a plan on my future, because I thought the Army was going to medically retire me at 16 years and I was going to be screwed. So made that plan, fell back on some passion, fitness, nutrition, supplements, and just put it all into operation. And then lo and behold, being the physically fit guy that I was, rehabbed myself back into a job within Green Berets. So I ended up staying another 5 years. but ran that company as a Green Beret. But it comes down to, when you're on an ODA, an Operation Detachment Alpha, you have a team that you work with. I always made sure that I hired people that I thought were a good fit for Caliber Nutrition and Fitness. It turned into Caliber Nutrition and Fitness because it grew from a supplement store into a personal training studio and supplement store. And then I ended up building a larger gym with a buddy and sold all that to start AEP. But it came down to teamwork and having a really good team. And just like what we have right now with AEP and, our web, and we've got a couple web gals and a guy. My wife is a very integral part of AEP. I give her a lot of the credit nowadays because she, I think that's why we got married. I noticed that she was kind of like me as far as, getting shit done, if you will. And she just kind of took it over. And maybe it should be a female-owned business now because she runs it. So, but yeah, it's how it started, and I didn't stop. But then when it came time to retire, and mind you, I was still deploying while running Caliber Nutrition and Fitness, and then also changing jobs from being a team guy to a team nerd. I got into the Intel side of the house, and was training out in DC, and that was about a 1.5 year pipeline, and so got into the Intel side of the house while still running Caliber Nutrition from afar, and deploying to Eastern Europe. And but it worked out and had a good team. And once it came down to retirement, I called it quits and started AEP, Alpha Elite Performance.
Love it. So you had a severe injury that changed the trajectory of your life, if you will.
Yeah.
And as you were sitting in a chair in a bed recovering, you weren't thinking really anything else but, okay, I need a backup plan right now. I've been in for 16 years. What am I going to do with the rest of my life? And immediately you began to put things in motion, as Marines like to say, a BAMSIS, right?
Yeah.
Begin plan, arrange plan, make plan, complete plan, issue orders, and supervise. And again, being a Green Beret, you know that very well. And you were like, hey, man, I'm not going to let this keep me down. I'm going to put a backup plan in order. I am going to strategize this outcome regardless of what my health condition may be. And you certainly made the best of that. And the cool thing about it is you were able to continue your service.
Yeah.
So now you've got these two jobs, you've got your entrepreneurial mindset, you've got the Green Beret over here, and that would ultimately end up combining into one cohesive unit. To where you are right now as a civilian, living your best life, doing so much things within the veteran and military community, the special operations community, with your performance-based supplements. And then you also have the Alpha Elite Outdoors. Now, of course, you are a veteran-owned sports nutrition company. And again, you have focused on supporting the superior performance and recovery of every single one of your customers as they pursue their athletic and health goals. Now, having gone what you've been through, when folks come into you, do they come in because they just want to get all swole? Or do a lot of guys come into you and say, hey, look, man, I just want to become healthier? Can you explain a little bit about the business plan and how you serve your customers?
Yeah, absolutely. I think when these guys go to our website, they can see that we're not all about becoming, a jacked, buff, bodybuilder. That's great for those that want to do that. But we're all about health and wellness, and we're all about building muscle, because without muscle, you can't lose fat. And so we do help people, gain muscle, but also live a healthy and better quality of life through our greens products, our sleep aid, our collagen, protein, and a couple others. So, they find out that that's what we're all about, and it resonates with them. I think a majority of the people are more into functional fitness now than they are bodybuilding. And so they enjoyed that aspect of AEP. And so it's it's not a difficult choice for them. So, and then we're, a lot of people like to support veterans, especially civilians. I found just through, looking at numbers on who purchases our products and talking to them, is that majority of civilians support us than the veteran community does, believe it or not. It's crazy, it's fine. But I love that there are those patriotic people out there that want to support a veteran-owned business. So, but yeah.
I totally see that. I know so many veterans that own their own businesses, and the majority of their customers are civilians, because I don't know what it is. There's some sort of rivalry or something going on. It's like, guys, we're on the same team here. And it seems like there's a lot of competition in a lot of these industries. And of course, you may get your veterans buying from you, but they're going to be specific to, I know this guy really well. I served with him. I'm going to buy it from him. But, the guy over here, it just seems like that there's this constant rivalry, which is fine. It's the name Alpha.
Right? There is no veteran loyalty. I'm pretty blunt about it too, because I did expect, to be a trazillionaire, off the veteran community, I'm a military guy, Green Beret, they're going to buy from me. But learned, there is no such thing as veteran loyalty at all. I know some stellar Green Berets that I thought, they're going to buy from Alpha Lead Performance from me because we know each other. We work together. Not the case. And that's fine. They go where they want. So it is what it is. But again, civilians, tend to, and I think a lot of those people that support us that are civilians were people that wanted to serve, that never served. And that's kind of their continued service, especially when they find out like AEP has its own nonprofit, Alpha Lead Performance Outdoors. And so it kind of bleeds over into our continued service as now a civilian-owned, veteran-owned company. And so they like to support AEP Outdoors as well, which is great. So, and again, there's no veteran loyalty, but we are loyal to our veterans in starting our nonprofit and kind of giving back to the community. By way of mental health, outdoor adrenaline, adventure, and fellowship.
Sure. And look, you make it really easy for people to want to support you. I mean, you're a good guy. You're very well educated. You're well spoken. You are a great man, a 21-year distinguished career. I mean, you've done a lot of things in your life, and you've lived an honorable life. And again, you are now dedicating your life to the health and the wellness of the military and the veteran and the first responder community, as well as civilians alike. Again, we're all in this life together, right? So whatever knowledge that you may have that you can help improve the life of somebody else, hey, that's a win-win situation for everybody. I started this podcast 166 days ago to do just that, to add real life value to the lives of everyday people. And how can I do that? Well, by putting on guys like yourself that have kicked life's ass. Even when life had you on your knees, you got up and you began to improve the quality of your life, and you got 1% better each and every day to where you are right now, having been a retired 21-year U.S. Army veteran, and now a very well-known and very what's the word I'm looking for? You are a great business owner. You're successful.
Entrepreneur.
Brain fog sometimes, but you're a very successful man. And again, you have dedicated, making these supplements, not just for Green Berets too, but for all active duty military and civilians alike. Do you ship this a lot to folks that are active duty?
Yeah. I mean, I don't personally see who's ordering as much as I used to. But we definitely ship to a lot of veterans or for active duty military to bases. We ship free to APO addresses. Anybody that's listening out there that's at in an APO address, we ship free to APO addresses. But we do a majority of our work direct to consumer via our through the internet, alphaleadperformance.com. But it was a no-brainer. When I was down and out, if you will, the veteran community came to me. The civilian community came to me to take care of me. I didn't have to ask when I, was laid up thinking that I was done. The Green Beret Foundation, whom I'm still much a huge part partner. I'm the lead ambassador, if you will. We don't really have the ambassador program anymore with the GBF, but I still work with them a considerable amount in helping and giving back to our Green Berets, because they were there for me. And I've had 13 surgeries, and they were there for every single one of them, and never had to ask for help. With our nonprofit, we're just trying to fill a gap that I see needs help and that other nonprofits don't do. It seems like we're providing vacations for veterans, but our first one, it might have been a vacation, but it was 11 special operations guys that we took to Cabo for 2 days of sport fishing. In between those 2 days, they had a day of fellowship where they all got to come together as one. No civilians allowed, except for the bartender on the boat, on the yacht. But they all came together and they got to tell their stories. And we had guys there that, had, lost a spouse or lost their children, who have lost lots of buddies, TBIs, that were dealing with the issues that they deal with on a daily basis, but they can't really bring up around their spouses or other civilians. So it's great to bring these guys together for that mental health. And now all those 11 guys that didn't know each other all have, 10 different buddies now and contact numbers to reach out to. So, and we're finding that that's extremely healing. And so is SOCOM. They're kind of moving forward in that direction too, about filling this gap, about mental health and getting outside, getting out in the outdoors, sun, vitamin D, and how that helps heal your brain and helps heal the man or the woman. So we do a monthly heli hog hunt where we bring 4 veterans together. They're out on a helicopter and kind of helping out through conservation, helping out the farmers, because they want these hogs gone because they're destroying their crops and stuff. To our first big Africa hunt coming up. Andy Broom was one of the first females recruited into Delta Force, into CAG. She got injured kind of much like I did through a free fall accident, and it ended her career a little early. But she is going to Namibia, Africa to hunt 8 animals. And, and that's what we want to do. And she'll be with us. And Namibia, if you've never been there, it's gorgeous. I wanted to throw my passport away when I was there and not come home. But a lot of us have been to Africa, but under different circumstances. So to be able to go back and experience Africa, South Africa, and in all its beautiful and glory and wonder is going to be extremely healing. And if you think that you don't need healing, I can guarantee that there's something within a veteran that needs healed, that needs to be touched emotionally and mentally. So that's, we're doing the health and wellness on Alpha Lead Performance side through physical fitness and supplementation to now AEP Outdoors and trying to help out, our veteran community through mental health and awareness. And then hopefully we'll grow through donations into, I'm a huge proponent of stem cells. I actually ran a nonprofit providing stem cells for veterans. It's an expensive process, but I now work with a lady and got it down to cost. To other programs like Exos and being able to pay for some of our active duty guys whose units won't pay for them to go to Exos to rehab. Because Exos for me in California where I went was phenomenal in my recovery and healing. So, that's where we're at. You can tell I'm a little passionate about it. I'm a chatty Cathy when it comes to this. And if I could sell everything and just strictly focus on AEP Outdoors, I will. And I hope that we get to that point and just run the nonprofit, because it's more rewarding, it's more fulfilling, and it's my continued service. And to our volunteers that help us, it's their service to this country in one way, shape, or form, So, but yeah.
You're a great leader, and you can't be this successful business without being a great leader. I mean, you're selling supplements, to a veteran community, a military community, a first responder community, the civilian, community alike. And there's so many companies out there to be able to influence them in a way, and to be that leader, to say, hey, look, I'm Travis Wilson. I've got I have a highly decorated career. I'm a Green Beret. I've got a lot of real life experience. What I'm doing right now is I'm building camaraderie. I'm building the support system, and I'm teaching people how to live a healthy lifestyle through healthy habits. And what I always tell people, look, it's okay to have an obsession as long as it's a healthy obsession.
Sure.
Me, I'm obsessed with this podcast right now, and I'm obsessed with my health and lifestyle as well, too, as I had a really bad experience when it comes to health in 2016. So
Yeah,
I'm doing it again to improve the quality of my life as well through health, lifestyle change, well-being, emotional, physical, and mental health. It's all very important. But again, it takes a special person like you to reach the hearts and minds of people that don't want to be reached. And again, it takes a special guy, and you have those characteristics. You have those traits. And again, without folks like you in this community, we would be in a far worse situation. Now, 22 a day is real, and that may even be old data. And unfortunately, we live in a time right now where veteran and military suicide is at an all-time high. The stresses of life, the wounds of war, the helplessness, the hopelessness, the mental and emotional health of our nation's heroes, again, is at an all-time low, if you will. Folks are looking for men like you to help them in their walk in life. Now, you say your mission isn't to raise awareness, because we all know that there's a problem out there.
But we've had 20 plus years to see these problems. We know what the problems are, so we're not trying to raise awareness for any of that. We know what the issues are, and it's time to, I get paid 100% of what we raise goes back to the programs that we are funding. None of it is going to my pocket. Matter of fact, we are taking our own money and putting it into AEP Outdoors so that we can help provide these programs. So the days of these nonprofits making money to pad their pockets, I think it should be over. It's bullshit. I know a lot of nonprofits out there that do that. They end up taking more money than they do giving to our veterans. But yeah, you're right. The 22 a day, I think, is old data. It's more than that. I have had just as many buddies commit suicide, if not more, than I have known killed in action in combat. It's insane. It's horrible. What the worst part though is thinking that, well, why the fuck didn't they call me? Why didn't they call somebody? But we don't know where they're at that moment when they end up taking their lives. But I think it hurts people the most. Just thinking they could have called somebody. They could have called me.
Mm-hmm. Again, when these people are put in these type situations, they're going through a crisis type situation in their life, and they don't want to be bothered, and they just want to self-isolate. And that's when the real damage starts to happen. And that downward spiral, if you will, starts to happen, and their anxiety and depressed, riddled body begins to shut down in ways to where I don't want to be reached. But like I was saying before, a guy like Travis Wilson, it is that man standing in the gap in between, how can you reach somebody between not being reachable and not reaching these veterans. And a lot of these veterans, they don't want to be reached. They shut off their phone. They shut off everything. They just want to completely separate themselves from this life. They want to hide. They want to run away. And again, I think that's our big problem right now in this country is we can't save those who don't want to save themselves. So it does take effort from the people that are hurting. But all it takes perhaps is maybe a podcast, or perhaps going on a Ruck March, getting out, forcing somebody, hey, you're going to come with me today. And those are the little things in life that will begin to help heal those in need. And look, we all suffer traumas in life. It's how we deal with those traumas. And it's very hard. Life is hard. You know that, as much as I do. Life is hard. It's not fair. We don't know why things happen to us. But at the end of the day, all we can do is continue to fight and to do the best we can in this walk in life. Now, we all know that, look, you're not trying to raise awareness. It's out there. We know what the problem is. The statistics, the studies, and research are clear. And like I said, we all have struggles. But it's your hope to help you struggle well and not alone. You want to bring people together. You want to bring veterans together. And you have sponsored and you are hosting a Ruck that is coming up here very soon in downtown Montgomery through your parent company, Alpha Elite Outdoors. I love the name, March for Our Military. I mean, come on, keep it simple, stupid, man. I love it, dude. I mean, like, really,
it's on March 4th.
Yeah, if you don't know the date, I mean, hey, so
Yeah.
it's March 4th. It's a 5K ruck, a really simple walk through downtown Montgomery, the birthplace of the Texas flag. What inspired you to put this event on? And tell me a little bit about what we can look forward to on that March 4th ruck.
Well, what inspired me was just that I've been on some other ruck events. My buddy who started Ruck for Vets, they came out here and we put one on a couple years ago. And then Go Ruck, we built, I've started the Montgomery Ruck Club. We haven't done much with it yet, but it's all about community. And I think that the community with the health and wellness side of it, it just fits well with us. So the March for Our Military, Ruck March, health and wellness, and community. Community is kind of what brings these guys together. If there's a guy coming to do this Ruck March, he's going to meet a whole bunch of other people that I hope, they now have become his friends. And to build the community within the veteran community, and just to keep it growing through health and wellness and fitness, and having people to rely on, fall back on. A good buddy of mine, Will Jones, he's probably one of the most liked guys in the world. I call him, he's our official director of height for AEP, but everybody is drawn to this guy, and he deals with his own battles, his own evils, his own demons, but he's such a great example of why I do this, because you bring these people together and they meet people like Will Jones and people like myself. I like to be a positive person in a different way than Will. But we're just all kind of just drawn together, and you meet these people that have the same demons and the same difficulties, but they're just, such positive people that they're working through it, and the community, and we work through it together. A lot of people scoff and laugh and think, you guys are fine. There's a lot of people that just have no idea what people are going through. I personally, say a prayer every day, not necessarily for myself, but for others. Because there are things in my head that I deal with, my trials and tribulations, if you will. It's not all hunky dory for everybody. I'm sure you've got your your demons and things that you deal with, and say your little prayers.
Absolutely,
it's just that community, and a March for Our Military that's what it's about. And we're going to march through downtown historic Montgomery, Texas, the birthplace of the Texas flag. I'm a proud Texan, born here, plan to die here. And what not a better place to do it in other than the birthplace of the Texas flag. It's a 5K. It's very easy. We're not running it. We're walking it at the fastest we're going is the slowest paced person up front. And it's about just coming together and that 5K, 3.2 miles, people talking and meeting each other and having a good time. And then afterwards having a little bit of fellowship through music and food and raffles and giveaways. And raising money for AEP Outdoors to be able to continue to take our veterans on these outdoor adrenaline adventure and fellowship events that we do.
Now, describe a little bit. I mean, we talked a lot about Alpha Elite Performance with the supplement brands and the health and nutrition and the wellness. Give me an elevator pitch on your outdoor side.
On AEP Outdoors?
Like you were, we're going out, we're shooting feral hogs, from a helicopter and stuff like that. We're taking veterans out on these, expeditions, if you will. Can you elaborate any further on, what else that you guys may offer as an outdoor type?
Well, currently right now, AEP Outdoors we're just all about community, getting outside, outdoors is healing. It's been proven scientifically. The outdoors, the sun, it's healing mentally and for mental wellness. So AEP Outdoors is just about coming together as a community and bringing together the veterans to go outdoors, enjoy each other's company, the adrenaline that we had as active duty military, what we lived off of, I strived for the adrenaline. I loved it. That's why I jumped out of planes above the clouds. I enjoyed going to combat. It excited me. So kind of bringing back a little bit of that adrenaline, releasing some serotonin, brain health stuff. And then there's being outside with each other and having that camaraderie, that brotherhood, sisterhood that we need. We need it. We absolutely need that in order to survive now, obviously, because the like you said, the suicide rate is well above 22 a day. I totally believe that. But AEP Outdoors, we're not trying to raise awareness. We're just filling a gap. And so far, pretty dang successful. We had a gal on one of our heli hog hunts who, at the end, we went to lunch, and she said that she needed this. She had just moved to the Texas area by herself, horrific divorce, not a very good exit from the military, and she was close to committing suicide just a month earlier. And she needed those new people. She needed to get outside and do what we were doing with the heli hog hunt out in Temple, Texas. So that's not really an elevator pitch. It's just, there's a cry for help that everybody has when they leave the military, and they're not very verbal about it, but you can see it on their face. You can see it in their walk and their posture. And when you come together and they end up leaving one of these events that we do, they stand up a little bit more taller. They have a big, beautiful smile on their face, and we're hugging each other. And we know that helped. That helped a great deal. Had a gentleman who lost his wife to suicide that we took to Cabo, and it was wonderful to see him after those 4 or 5 days leave Cabo, a changed man, with a new, not necessarily lease on life, but just a positivity. Because we were there, we had all experienced some sort of trauma. I have lost a child myself, and two other wives. I've lost 2 families with deployments and stuff like that. I'm not ashamed to say that I'm on my 3rd wife, and by far the best out of the 3 that I've married. But we've all lost something, a great deal. And there's always something to talk about that a lot of people just won't understand, not having served in the United States military. Mm-hmm. So, that's why we do it. And I hope that it grows to where it becomes my only business, right. And not necessarily business, but it becomes the only family that I'm working for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I seen firsthand, I've been to some veterans events, and I see when everybody shows up, kind of look around, everybody's kind of, sizing everybody up. Everybody's kind of standoffish. Yeah. And by the time you leave, everybody's slapping hands and, exchanging phone numbers. And, again, like you said, they got their chin up, they got their chest out, they're feeling more confident. Yeah. They're leaving perhaps a changed person, again, life's challenges, and you have to face those head on. And again, what you're doing, what these Ruck Marches is, you're bringing the veteran community together. They're sharing in fellowship. They are doing that bonding, and they're there, with similar mindsets, and they have similar goals. And again, it's finding that commonality between the veteran community. It's a group that is, that has more camaraderie in it than anything that we could ever really think of in the world, really. I mean, the U.S. military veteran community is very, it is, a very tight-knit group, small group. 20 million American veterans, less than 1% right now of our nation's population is serving. So again, it's a very, small, tight-knit community. But what you're doing is saving lives, and you're doing it like this with the 5K Ruck March. Folks, it will begin and end at the Ransoms Steakhouse in Montgomery, Texas. Now, the check-in begins at 9 a.m., and it's on March 4th. RSVP today at aepoutdoors.com. That's aepoutdoors.com. All the information is right there on the screen. Folks, it's only $50. $50.
It's only $45 right now if you use code EARLY.
There you go. Use code EARLY. It's $45. If you don't, you show up at the door. It's $50. That will include a T-shirt. And again.
And a raffle ticket.
And a raffle ticket. So, hey, guys, there's a lot. Hey, plus you get to hang out with like-minded brothers and sisters in arms. Share with some stories, the camaraderie. Build new relationships, make a new friend, get out of the house, and you will find yourself to begin to get 1% better than what you were yesterday. And all it takes is to begin. That's all it takes. It's something small to begin. And if you haven't gone out and done one of these, or if you've never participated in the veterans event, I definitely recommend this event out there in Montgomery because one, it's a beautiful, tight-knit, small community, and it will be patriotic from start to finish, to the raffle, to when you're slapping hands, you're giving bro hugs on the way out with Travis and his buddies there. That will be probably having a steak at the end of this. I mean, I know if I'm going to be out there, I know I'm going to get me a steak at Ransom.
Yeah, and it'll be live music as well. We got a couple bands playing. One we're flying in from California, Poor Man's Change, and then a local favorite, 307 Departure. Really good band. So it's just all about having a good time.
Roger that, man. I love it. Now, guys, if you want to email Travis directly to learn more, to get more information, or perhaps you want to ask him a question, Travis at aepoutdoors.com. That's Travis at aepoutdoors.com. Now, Travis, when we finish the show, I typically ask, somebody of your stature, you're a Green Beret, you're a leader. A lot of people look to you for guidance and for advice. And, again, being somebody that's been through so many trying times in their life, and that's coming out winning. You're a winner. You're an alpha. What type of words of advice or perhaps some words of wisdom can you leave our listeners with?
Obviously, don't quit. Many times in my life, it was just all about putting one foot in front of the other. I actually learned from a movie called Youngblood. There's a song on there called Put One Foot in Front of the Other. He was trying to make it, to the next junior level of hockey. But I use that in selection, just one foot in front of the other. Keep going. Quit tomorrow. Tell yourself, if you're thinking about quitting today, tell yourself you'll quit tomorrow and continue to repetitively tell yourself that I'll just quit tomorrow, knowing damn well that you're not going to quit. So one foot in front of the other, quit tomorrow. I've experienced failures and I've quit things before, and I can tell you it is the absolute worst feeling, having done so and refused to do that ever again in my entire life. So just one foot in front of the other, quit tomorrow, and just stay disciplined, stay focused, and always know that you can reach out to somebody for help. I'm there for help. If you've got business questions, hit me up. I'm more than willing to tell you how I did it. And people are like, hey, write a book, a veteran's book on business. And, it through all my trials and errors, but I'll tell you how I did it. Just hit me up. So,
a lot of times, look, it's no secret. It's no secret. It starts with hard work. It starts with dedication. It starts with determination. Yeah. And the will to win.
And the answer is always out there. Somebody knows the answer.
Yeah. And those are all simple things. The keys to success. I mean, we hold the keys.
Yeah.
We hold the keys to our success. We hold the pen. We can write our next chapter in our life, but it's up to you to want to get better. Folks, only you can save you. And that is the most important thing that I've always told people. Only you can save you. You have to hit rock bottom, and you have to see the dark gates of hell and say, I cannot do this anymore. I need to change my life. There's a better way.
Yeah.
Better way is going to start by going to that 5K Ruck March. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be a life-changing event. I'm going to be out there. I'm looking forward to it. I've got it on my calendar. Again, folks, register today or email Travis at aepoutdoors.com. Again, the Ruck will begin at 10 a.m. on March 4th, but registration starts at 9 a.m. RSVP today at aepoutdoors.com. That's aepoutdoors.com. Now, man, I just really want to thank you for joining us on today's program, Travis. We sincerely appreciate everything you have done and continue to do in the military and veteran community. Your service, your sacrifice, and dedication to our great nation is truly admirable.
My pleasure. I'd do it again.
Yeah, let's do it for sure. Yeah, we'll have to have an after actions report on the March 4th, see how that went and see how many people showed up and the lives that were changed at the event. And really at the end of the day, you don't know who you're going to touch. You don't know what life you're going to change through these new life relationships. So folks, remember to stay inspired, stay encouraged, stay motivated, and always stay in the fight. Until next time, for Today with Tally, This is Brian Talley. Good night, Semper Fi.